Record. All right, and then
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. I see we got some joining us here this morning. Apologize for the little bit of a late start there, but we'll keep running as scheduled. So give just a second here for a few more to come on in now that we've got the webinar opened up, and we will go ahead and get things running at that point. I do believe I hear you there, Ebony, so you should be in now as well.
SB. Apologies for the late start. Bram, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me the same?
Not hear you. 1 second. Okay. Thank you for confirming you can hear me, but I cannot hear you still. Let me adjust my speakers.
Okay. Okay, we do have a comment. Thank you, Jerome. Can hear both of us, so we should be at least audible to the audience, which is good news.
Kind of a new setup.
Thank you, William, as well. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and get things rolling here then. Welcome in, everybody. Again, apologies for the bit of a late start there. We do have some great information here for you this morning, and I hope you do all find it very helpful. All of you certified operators or aspiring operators in particular, we've got quite a few bits of detail about the operator certification program, about how to manage and maintain your own certifications, upgrading them. We've got a lot to get into, but we're going to start with a little bit of an introduction to GoToWebinar. I believe their internet, their web-based version is a little new, so it doesn't look quite the same. But if you're still using the app-based version, you'll see something like the panel displayed on the left screen there. But as a couple housekeeping notes, the webinar is being recorded. Webcams are disabled. All attendees are muted. But if you do have questions, there is the questions bar on the panel there. That's a little drop down with questions, or if you're in the web-based version, the little question mark block tab, and you can go ahead and drop your questions down in there, as well as any comments that you have along the way. Questions will be answered live as much as possible. If the presenter has a moment to answer the question, they will at the end of the presentation, or Ebony and myself will be in the chat box answering questions that way as well. Professional development hours are available today. There should be an agenda available for you to download. That's in the handout section. The handouts drop down there of the GoToWebinar panel, as well as the materials tab on the web-based version. There is an agenda file there. That is what you'll use to upload into your portal account to get your PDHs today. We should have 3.5 PDHs for the length of the webinar this morning. Make sure you keep those agendas. I always recommend uploading them as soon as the webinar is over so that you don't forget and scramble when it comes time for renewals. You're always welcome to upload those as you go. And just let us know if you're not seeing the handout section. I know on some users, the handouts just don't appear. So let us know and we'll make sure you get a copy if you are here today. The presentations will be sent out to all attendees a bit later via share file. Those will be emailed to everyone who has been in attendance here today. And of course, at any time, you'll hear it 30 times this morning. If you have any questions, if you're unsure of anything, just email the opcert program, give us a call, and please do, if you call and don't get through, please leave a voicemail. It makes it a lot easier for us to get back to you as quickly as possible. Going on from there, if you are viewing as a group, if there are multiple of you logged into one account to view right now, please make sure that everyone who is viewing is registered. You can still follow the registration link, registered to view the webinar. That way we can verify your attendance later on if you have multiple people sharing a screen all at once. Today's agenda, like I said, just a tiny bit behind schedule, but we'll be able to catch up in no time here. Introduction right now, I've got a few updates for you. Then I'm going to pass it over to Ebony, who is going to go over the operating rule that we use for the opcert program. It's R18-5, Article 1. That is where all of our rules for you operators and how we govern them comes from. Then I'll bring you a presentation on early examination, application, and review for if you wish to apply to take an examination ahead of schedule. Then we'll get into, I think, the most important presentation this morning. Ebony's going to take us over PDHs and certification periods. This is the thing we get the most questions about here, the most misunderstandings about. So hopefully this will be informative on how those things work for you. We'll take a little break. We'll get into the exams themselves, a little bit about how to study for WPI exams, why we use them, what to expect when you're going into an exam. And finally, this morning, Ebony's going to walk us through. She's going to share her screen. We're going to see what it looks like to actually renew or upgrade your own account in the portal so you know what to expect when it comes time to do that. Okay, a little note for everyone. Sorry if you can't still hear me. It looks like internet just went down.
I can still hear you.
Okay, good. Well, my screen went down. We're having plenty of technical difficulties today, but if I'm still live, I'm still live, and that's good. We're requesting operators update their system facilities listed on your opcert account. When you log into the portal, you should be able to see this section here that says Public Water System Facilities, and it'll list all the facilities that you currently have yourself assigned to. Now, this is something operators do themselves. If you need to add a facility or if you no longer work for a facility and you need to remove it, please do so. You can assign yourself as the operator or the operator in direct responsible charge, but it is really your responsibility to make sure that this is an accurate and true reflection of the facilities that you are working for. So please log into your account whenever you get a chance and verify that your systems that you're currently working for are all represented on your portal account. A bit of an announcement as well. We are recruiting members for our operator certification committee. This is a piece of our rule where we have a committee that exists to support ADEQ, the operator certification program. We got a lot of technical experts who join this committee, help guide training topics, education, compliance efforts for water and wastewater system operators. It's pretty low requirement for that. We do want some engaged and professional committee members, but you will only need to attend a virtual meeting twice a year. You'll provide technical advice, recommendations during these meetings to ADEQ and help us kind of refine and grow our training and outreach efforts. These are 3-year terms. We've just had a lot of our committee members roll off, so we have a lot of open seats as well. And these are the roles we're seeking to fill. One in each of these roles, a grade 4 certified wastewater treatment plant operator who's currently employed. Same for a grade 4 water treatment plant operator, grade 4 wastewater collection system operator, grade 4 water distribution system operator. We're looking for a unique individual for each of those 4 roles, as well as a professional Arizona registered engineer who is practicing in sanitary engineering. We're looking for a representative of a small public water system, and we're looking for a remote operator representative who is currently employed as well. So if you are interested yourself, or if you know anyone who would fit one of those roles well, please, again, reach out to us. There's our email and our phone number. Once again, we would love to hear from you and enter some discussions about getting new committee members. But that is where I'll leave it and pass things over to Ebony to take us over the governing rule for the opcert program.
Awesome. Thank you, Ram.
Of course, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, I have been using GoToWebinar for quite some time, and the format just changed on me, so let me figure this one out. Pretty sure I can. Okay. All right. Browser automatically share your tab audio. Interesting. Okay, cool. Everyone can still hear me successfully, okay?
Yep, I see your screen and can hear you.
Awesome. I did want to add one more announcement in. Thank you, Adam and Cindy. Fees will be increasing. Some of you probably already got this notification, and you'll also be getting this email on July 1st. But just so you all are aware today as well, fees will be increasing again on August 1st. Some of you are already aware as of a few years ago, but they will be gradually increasing every year, every August 1st. Uh, you no longer have to, there are no actions needed on your end, but just so you are aware, um, it just starts August 1st. So we're going to move on to just a site rule review update, not no updates, just site rule review of the articles that water operators are have to adhere to, which is R18, Chapter 5, Article 1 for water and wastewater operators and water systems. Um, this is going to be a very quick uh, review. We're going to go into detail over the course of the next 3.5 hours. Greater detail in different sections of areas of greater need, deficiencies that oftentimes you guys have more questions, struggle with when it comes to certification management. So let's jump into it. Just some important definitions, operator and system owner roles. We don't want to mix the two. Often we get uh, the complaint that sometimes system owner roles are often placed on operators. We don't want that. We definitely want that clear distinction because in rule is very clear. Um, certification renewal and expirations, um, suspension, probation, revocation. The rule is very clear on what can lead to these disciplinary actions, and then how our rule defines experience and education for operators. So a very, very important rule for ADEQ specifically, we define certified operator and operator the exact same. So that means an individual who holds a certificate issued by the department, and the department is by rule ADEQ in the field of water, wastewater treatment, water distribution, or collection. So even though utility or another employer may say an operator is utility operator, meter, reader, in their role may not be a certified individual necessarily. By ADEQ standard, an operator is a certified individual. So even if you do come to us saying you have 5 years as an operator, um, we do mean that that 5 years needs to be certified time. So please note, certified individual for ADEQ as an operator is time certified, pass an exam, a WPI ABC exam. We do define operators differently as well. Direct responsible charge, you're making day-to-day decisions about your facility. On-site operator, you're visiting that facility daily. On-site representative, you may not be certified, but you are working underneath a certified operator. Sometimes you do get calls saying they're, these guys working in a ditch. Well, not working in a ditch. You're working in a trench. Maybe you're putting down some main lines, but technically they're working underneath a certified operator. Or you're a remote operator. You're not on site all the time, but you are visiting a system on a weekly basis. We do define these operators differently, and they do have different responsibilities, and this is all within rule. Professional development hours. We do not define CEUs within the state law, or Arizona does not define CEUs, but we do recognize them. But ultimately, we do define professional development hours. 1 hour of participation in an organized educational activity does have to be related to engineering, biological, or chemical sciences, or closely related to technical or scientific discipline. Think anything STEM related activity or operations management, anything to do with your facility, your system, water, wastewater related. Qualifying discipline and qualifying experience. Bram's going to touch on this quite a bit with the early exam application review, but I'll just touch on it briefly here. Qualifying discipline is pretty much engineering, biology, chemistry, closely related technical scientific discipline. Most of you are going to meet this working at your jobs on these facilities with your systems. Uh, like it says, engineering, biological, your labs, qualifying experience. That's where you're going to meet that definition. The discipline, your education, with your transcripts, your associate's degree, your bachelor's, your master's. That's where you're going to meet that definition. The qualifying experience. This is where you're going to meet that point, where you're going to meet that those requirements, working on the job in your facilities, the labs, out on the field. So that's what we're looking for when you're submitting your resumes, when you're submitting your transcripts. So when you're submitting your applications for early exam, excuse me, that's what we're looking for when you're submitting transcripts and your resumes. Roles and responsibilities. They are very distinct between facility owners and operators. Like I said, we've had operators come to us saying, I'm doing this, this, and this. And when we were asking for certain information, um, especially when we were asking for information that regards managerial or financial, and we're getting that information from operators, it can be pretty confusing with the information we're getting. Uh, Managers tend not to be as involved as they should. And we are listening to operators when they're requesting a lot more board and managerial training for their systems. Uh, More of that is coming, but from our TA side, excuse me. Sneeze, sorry. So, just to put in the guidelines on how we're going to base our future managerial training. Facility owners, you guys need to ensure that your direct responsible charge is at or above the grade of your facility. What that means is if you have a grade 4 facility, your operator needs to be a grade 4 or higher. That means that um, when an inspector comes to your facility and they're asking for wastewater, one second, please. It is very hard to concentrate with pings going on in the background. Apologies. You need to be able to provide the certificate of the operator and responsible of your facility. Grade 3 and 4 facilities need to have on-site operators. Grade 1 and 2 facilities need to have on-site operators, or they can possibly have remote operators. You do need to ensure that your operator is within 200 miles of your facility if you do have remote operators. Operators also need to make sure they are at or above the grade of their facility, obviously. Do not leave it all up to the facility owner because you too can also be in violation of pretty much state law and at risk of losing your certification. You do make all the decisions about the process control of the facility, but the facility owner does make the decisions about the facility that don't directly impact the public health of the facility, like financial decisions, of course. Your responsibility, the operator's responsibility, is to update your facilities within the portal. Doing so does update the reports for CIDWIS as well. So you don't necessarily need to contact the opcert program directly to let them know that you have a new facility. I know in the rule it says you need to notify the department in writing within 10 days. That's kind of old language. Now that we have the portal, it pretty much just instantly updates the portal, the department. Remote operators do need to leave instructions for their on-site representatives or other on-site operators um, how to operate the facility. That isn't within rule. You can't just ghost. You do need to leave a log, instructions, standard work on how to operate that facility if you are a remote operator. And you do need to inspect your facility as necessary. And there are rules on how to do so based on a water or wastewater facility as instructed in R18.5-107 specifically, 104 specifically on Clause 7. Renewals versus upgrades, we're going to go into that in greater detail in a minute here. But the main difference is upgrades do not require PDHs. Renewals do require PDHs. Um, both can change your certification period, which I said later on we're going to go into greater detail. Um, you can choose the option or decline the option to align, and the certification period can range between 6 months to 3 years. It used to be you could have a common alignment, a certification period of a day, but we'll talk about that in greater length later. 109 is the section that can define what acts can lead to any sort of denial, suspension, probation, revocation. Briefly, let's go over the 9 acts that can: operating a facility in a manner that violates state or federal law, willfully neglecting a facility, fails to comply with ADEQ orders or orders of a court, obtain a certificate by fraud or deceit, misrepresentation. You lied, you copied for an exam, uploaded false PDHs. Engage, fraud or deceit, misrepresentation in operations. Knowingly or neglectfully repairs false or fraudulent reports. Put an A instead of a P. Don't do any of that, please. Endangering public health, safety, welfare. Fails to comply with terms or conditions while you're on probation or suspension. Or you fail to cooperate with an investigation by ADEQ, including or failing to refuse to provide information required by this article, which is just Article 1 right now. And this is section 112, which once again, Brown will go over in fuller detail for early exam review, which covers the education and experience requirements for operators. This is pretty much just pulled from rule, but we just put it in a nice little chart, which starts with the years of experience required, the qualifying experience in the same or related field, so pretty much water for water, wastewater for wastewater, and the education and the qualifying discipline. Remember, qualifying discipline as in like your degree, your education. If I get this laser on, it works with pretty much per grade, and then with your education level to experience. So for grade 1, it doesn't matter with your education, you require no experience. And as you go down in grade, based on your education, your experience required is increases. Now remember, in rule, it does not matter where you see operator elsewhere. ADEQ says an operator is a certified operator. Qualifying experience is time out actually working with a facility. So like I said, as the experience increases, as the education decreases, you actually need more certified time. As your education increases, you need less certified time, which Bram will go over in greater detail with the early exam application. And with that, I've hit 8:30. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Nothing at the moment.
All right, with that, we've concluded. And I will go ahead and just end with this cheesy photo. I know we've covered quite a bit in the last 15 minutes, and learning is just like their water cycle, never ending. I know that's cheesy, but that is what I left with from college. And if you have any questions, this will keep coming up. Our contact information for the opcert certification. And I'll pass it off to you, Brad.
Awesome. Thank you, Ebony. Let's get our early exam presentation here. Wonderful. If you can see everything all right, we'll get into a review of early examination. This is something, honestly, unless you're a 4x4 operator, this might be relevant to you at some point in your career as an operator. This is an option depending on the qualifications. And so we'll go a little overview here. We're going to start talking about what early examination is, whether or not you've heard of this process before. We'll get into it. We'll discuss who qualifies and how they qualify, as Ebony kind of foreshadowed there. And we will get into the application itself, as well as the process of how we review these applications here at ADEQ. So what is early examination? Essentially, this is the one and only method to testing ahead of schedule. Now, whether or not you're certified yet, or you should know the process of upgrading your certifications. Typically, the requirement is 1 year. You need to have your current certification for 1 full year before you are eligible to test for an upgrade. So I get my distribution grade 1 today. It's my first certification. I cannot get my distribution grade 2 until 365 days from today. I can take the exam. So that's the typical upgrade schedule. Of course, that is dependent on class. So, I get my D1, a year later I can get my D2, a year later I can get my D3, but I can get my water treatment one and my collections one at any time. But the general schedule is to upgrade a certification, wait a year, holding the current certification. Early exam approval, however, this is a thing you can apply for with ADEQ, and if you are approved, you are eligible then to test up early, to test to a higher grade than you would otherwise be qualified for. Some approvals do let you skip over grades entirely. If I have my D1 again as an example, or let's say I'm not certified at all, but I meet certain requirements, I can skip all the way up to my D3, or in some cases the D4. You can skip over grades entirely. It doesn't just let you skip to the next grade ahead of schedule. If you're approved for it, you can go beyond the next grade. So who qualifies? This sounds great. Of course, I want my higher level certifications. I want to get deeper into my career as fast as possible. The qualifications are very specific, and they are very specific for a reason. They're kind of black and white, whether or not you'll be able to be approved to qualify for early examination. And it's all done because we want to make sure that we have qualified individuals at certain levels in this field. Of course, water is a very serious industry. This is not an industry that we want just anyone who knows nothing about it working in. This is safe drinking water for our citizens. And so the application goes through ADEQ. If you would like to apply, that is going to be your starting point, is to apply with ADEQ. And again, there are specific education requirements and experience requirements. We require both, and the requirements vary depending on the grade which you skip to, and they all vary depending on the minimum level of education that you have. And so we're going to break it down by grade, what the requirements are, depending on what you want to skip to. But first, those definitions. Ebony mentioned these a little bit, and we will hopefully understand them quite thoroughly by the end of this presentation here. The two terms are qualifying experience and qualifying discipline. You need a certain experience level and a certain education level to make these applications, but the qualifying term is the one that we want to make sure we understand. So when it comes to experience, what's the level of experience you have, what qualifies as experience that will get you approved for early examination. This is specifically referring to experience, skill, or knowledge that is obtained through employment that is applicable to, and this is the important part, the technical or operational control of all or part of a facility. So really we are looking for water system work. Whether you are working as an operator already at a water system or you're working with a water system, sometimes lab experience or certain engineering experience can qualify if you're working with water systems as long as it's applicable to the technical or operational control of all or part of a facility. We want people who are familiar with water systems already to be able to test up early. Otherwise, we want people starting at grade one, boots on the ground, learning the experience hands on. And that's the idea there. And then qualifying discipline. This comes to your education experience. If your minimum level of education is high school, the work experience requirements are going to be a little higher. However, if you have an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or higher, and you come in applying with those higher levels of education, you need to meet certain qualifying disciplines. A communications degree or whatever it is won't necessarily qualify for the educational requirements. And so if you're coming in with your associates, you're coming in with your bachelor's, that specifically means the classes you've taken, the degree you've gotten is in engineering, biology, chemistry, or a closely related technical or scientific discipline. And so we can expand this more to STEM-based degrees, microbiology, water resources, environmental science, hydrology, relevant things. And other degrees can work on occasion. I don't want to say it as a blanket statement, but with enough STEM courses taken, other degrees can qualify, or a biology minor. We'll look through transcripts when it comes to the review, and we'll take note of, okay, here's how many science classes were taken, and we'll consider these things when it comes to approving an application. So we're going to go grade by grade, education level by education level, what the requirements are. So that you're sure, because we don't want you to apply until you're sure that you're going to qualify. And we'll get into the reasons for that very shortly here. But if your highest level of education is a high school diploma or GED, and you want to apply early for a grade 2, so maybe you already have a grade 1, maybe you're uncertified, but if you have that grade 1, you haven't had it for a full year, but you want to test it to the grade 2. What is required with a high school diploma or GED is 1 year of qualifying experience as a grade 1 operator. Now you might say, what's the point of that? If I have 1 year of experience, I could just test up on a normal schedule, but this is not class specific. So if you have a year D1 and you've had your D1, your distribution 1 for over a year, but you haven't certified water treatment yet, you don't hold a T license whatsoever, and you want to skip all the way up to the T2, well, you have your high school diploma, you've had your D1 for over a year and had that qualifying experience as a grade 1 operator, you might be able to skip with your D1 to a T2. So that's how that one works. If you have an associate's degree, 2 years of post-secondary education in a qualifying discipline, remember, qualifying discipline, then the required experience will be 1 year of qualifying experience, but just 6 months as a grade 1 operator. So you can have 6 months or more of uncertified experience as well. And we'll see that in an even more extreme case with a bachelor's degree or higher in a qualifying discipline. We're just going to be looking for 6 months of qualifying experience. So let's say you want to skip to your distribution grade 2, you have your bachelor's degree in environmental science, and you've worked at a water system uncertified or in a water lab uncertified for over 6 months, you'll likely qualify for skipping right to the D2. When it comes to grade 3, things get a little more stringent. The requirements go up grade by grade. So with a high school diploma or GED, now you need 2 years of qualifying experience, including 1 year as a grade 2 operator. With the associate's degree, 2 years of post-secondary education in a qualifying discipline, you'll need 18 months of qualifying experience as a grade 2 operator. And with the bachelor's degree or higher, 1 year of qualifying experience. Again, certified or uncertified with the bachelor's degree, the specification is less important. And finally, grade 4 requirements, the highest level. It is possible in certain circumstances to go from uncertified to grade 4. but it is very difficult by design. We typically don't want to see people skipping all the way to the highest level certifications, which is why these levels of experience are required. So if your highest education is high school or GED, you'll need 3 years of qualifying experience, including a year as a grade 3 operator. With that associate's 2-year degree, 30 months of qualifying experience, including a year as a grade 3 operator. And finally, with that bachelor's degree, this is the case where someone who is uncertified or only has a grade 1 or 2, but has 2 years of qualifying experience, might be able to skip all the way up to the grade 4 level. So hopefully, if you're considering early exam application, you can put yourself on this map here and say, well, I have that level of education. Do I have that much experience? And you can get an idea of if you'll be approved or not before you apply. And of course, again, reach out to us if you have questions before you apply. But when it comes time to apply, how do you go about doing it? You apply through the portal. That's the one and only way to apply is to go to the opcert portal. If you're already certified, you should be familiar with the portal already. You can log into the portal or just go to the portal homepage and you'll see this apply to test early option as one of the screens on the opcert portal homepage. Now, before you go to apply, make sure your documents are prepared because the portal likes to time out after 20 minutes or so if you start an application. And so you'll want to be ready for everything you need before you even get to applying. So prepare your documents. You'll need proof of education, diploma or transcript. For most degrees, we do prefer a transcript because if we can't, if it's a degree we've never heard of or a super niche degree, it might qualify, but just based on the name of the degree only, we might need more information. And so a transcript is always very useful so we can go class by class and see the kind of coursework that you've done. Unofficial transcripts are okay, but just make sure that they are ready to send to us and that you are ready to answer any follow-up questions we might have for you during the review process. On top of the proof of education, we want to see work experience. So this can be, in general, it's a resume. If you just want to use your normal resume that you're tossing out to employers, that's for the most part okay. But remember, we're looking for very specific amounts of time of experience in certain fields. And so when you prepare that resume, you might want to custom build one for this application or at least tweak your existing resume for this application so that we can very easily look at it and say, okay, this was qualifying experience. It was done at this grade level. It was done for this long. The easier it is, the less we have to interpret, the quicker the review process will go. So you've got your files ready, then you visit the opcert portal homepage, you apply to test early, you hit go, and then follow the steps. And the portal is going to ask you the same questions. It's going to say, do you meet this level of education? Do you meet this level of experience? If you say no, it's going to say, well, don't bother. Don't waste your money applying for what you're not going to get approved for. So follow those steps, upload the documents as you are prompted to do so, and then pay the review fee. It's currently $210. Ebony mentioned fees are going up shortly, so it'll go up a little bit. That's subject to annual adjustments, but that is the fee. And it's important to note that that fee can be one time. Now, if you apply for early examination for your grade 2s now and then a year or two from now are like, I really want to skip to my grade 4, you can always apply again. And in that case, you will have to pay the fee again. But you can apply for multiple early exams at once under one review fee. So this is an opportunity that you really should be aware of. If I'm, for example, applying to take my D3 early, and I know I have the education, I know I have the qualifying experience, I've worked in water and wastewater, but I really just want my D3. Well, I might as well apply for the T3 and W3 and C3 at the same time. It's no extra charge. That review fee is one price regardless of how many certifications you apply for early exam. So it doesn't hurt to apply for multiple because we're going to do the review and we'll we might as well do it all at once. If we already have your resume open, we already have your education open, we might as well do one review and approve you for multiple certifications. And this is important. Again, grades can be skipped entirely with early exam approval if qualifications are met. So that doesn't mean you need to have a D2 to skip up to a D3 necessarily. But it's also important to note that the review fee is non-refundable. So you pay up front, you submit your stuff up front, the payment's made up front, and we take the time to do the review. and we'll reach out to you if we need more information, and we'll go through this process. But please be sure you meet the requirements. You can reach out to us before applying if you're unsure. Now, if you reach out to me, if you called us, today, or emailed us, or whatever it is, and you said, "Hey, here's my general work experience, here's my general education, will I qualify?" I can't say yes, you'll for sure qualify, but we can give our guidance. We can give our best judgment. If we're sure you won't qualify, I'll tell you, hey, you're most likely not going to qualify. I wouldn't recommend applying for early examination. So we want to make sure that you are confident that you meet the criteria before you apply. So you've applied. What does the review process look like? When can you go ahead and test early? Now, I know exam seats get booked out pretty far in advance, but I don't recommend having an exam seat approved, because you can get your exam seat for a grade that you don't qualify for. But if you haven't applied for and been approved for early examination yet, I don't really recommend it. So here's just so you have the right expectations going into the review process. Once your application is complete, you've uploaded your documents, you've paid the fee, it comes to me and Ebony, it comes to ADEQ to review, and we'll download your files. And we'll have another window open that shows all the requirements for us, and we'll go through point by point, make sure that those experience and education requirements are met. Now, there is a space during the application process where you can add additional files. I've seen people add, pleas from their employers and other certifications and stuff. And this is we will take it and we'll review it, but the requirements are pretty black and white. And that's by design. You'll meet it or you won't. And so the really important things are that resume and that education experience. So reviews will be completed, we say, within a month, and typically it is less than that, especially early exam tends to go pretty quick. I see it frequently under 2 weeks. Sometimes it's same day. I'm not going to make any promises for anything besides within a month, but do keep in mind, if we need more information, if your resume kind of breezes over the work experience and we're like, I'm not sure if that qualifies. I'm not sure, they said 2024 to 2025. Was that 1 month or was that 1 year? We might reach out to you. If we need more information to confirm or deny whether you qualify, we'll call you or we'll email you. Those things are submitted with your application. And the faster you reply to us, the faster we can get your review done. Because sometimes if someone doesn't quite apply, I'll have to email them and say, hey, I noticed you're missing 6 months of work experience. Is there something I missed? Do you have anything else? And if you do, and you can apply promptly, that is very useful. So what if you're approved? What happens next? As soon as I hit approve, you will get emailed an email that looks very much like the one you see on the screen here. It'll say early exam approval. And this is an important email. It'll list what you've been approved for. So we see here in this example, we've got a wastewater collection grade 2 effective August 8, 2022. Now, at this point, you can go and take your exam. This person can take their wastewater collection grade 2 exam, even if they're not otherwise qualified for it. But this email is important. First off, it doesn't expire. And so remember back on that topic of okay, you can apply for multiple certifications at once, but it was like, but I applied for the C3, but I'm really not ready to get into the wastewater world. That's okay. Hold on to this email. The link does not expire once you've been approved. There's no rush. Of course, we do encourage you, if you've been approved, go ahead and test once you're ready, and get those certifications. Work your way up that way. But the certification or the approval doesn't expire. But the email is important. After you pass your exams, because let's say I get approved to take my wastewater collection grade 2 today, but I don't take it for another 7 months, and then I pass the exam and I rush to the portal and I go to certify, and then the portal's going to tell me, hey, you're not qualified. You haven't had your C1 for a year. You're not qualified. And I'm going to say, well, what the heck? I was approved. ADEQ approved me. Why can't I upgrade? You have to follow the link in the email. This link is unique. It is specialized for your approval. And so when it's time to go and certify, you can go back to this email, save this email. If you've truly well and lost it, we can get you a fresh copy of it. But that unique link will be what you need to upgrade. Follow that link, enter your information, and you'll be able to certify early for your early exam. So what if you're denied? You've gone through all this, you've paid the fee, you've submitted your papers. Likewise, you'll be emailed a notice of denial. And we try to be thorough with it. So we're not just going to say, hey, you're denied, better luck next time. We're going to send you a reason. And it's either going to be attached in the body of that denial email, we can add a subject, or we will have already communicated with you before. Remember, I might say, hey, I need more information. You're missing some work experience here. Do you have anything else? And you say, oh, no, sorry, I don't. Then I'll say, okay, unfortunately, I'll have to deny you on account of that. So we're not going to blindside you with a denial. Once it comes to your email inbox, if there wasn't any other explanation given to you, we will reach out with a follow up and give a reason for the denial. But keep an eye out in your email for those details. And at this point, you can consider your options because, okay, why was I denied? What did I not meet? Would have I been qualified if I applied for a grade 2 instead of a grade 4? Or worst case scenario, just continue to upgrade at your standard intervals. Like I've been saying, the early exam approval process is strict and stringent for a reason, and the upgrade process is slow by design. There's nothing better than work experience. If you want to get your 4x4 someday, some people can skip right to it, but the recommended process is going to take you a minimum of 4 years or more, and that's 4 years where you're going to be in the water facilities. You're going to be working. You're going to be learning on hand, on site, hands-on work, and approving at the recommended intervals. So early exam is always an option. And it's not always the option we recommend for everyone. Really, the best operators are those who are working in the industry for the longest amounts of times. So some final notes before we pass things back over to Ebony. Please, 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 I beg you, do not test early without approval. Approval is required for before testing. But the thing here is, and I've seen operators fall into this trap before, and it's one of my least favorite things to see, but it's just a byproduct of how this system works right now. Our proctors, our exam proctors, are third parties, and they're not verifying your eligibility. They're not coming to ADEQ and saying, hey, we had these 400 people register to take an exam. Who's qualified, who's not qualified? So, for example, if you're a W1 operator and you're like, man, I want to get my W4, you can take that test. Right now, I can go and pay and take a D4 exam or a W4 exam at any time. I can book that exam seat. I can pay for that exam. I can take it, and I can pass. I can pass with flying colors. I can get a 98 on my W4 exam miraculously, and then I go to certify with ADEQ, and the portal's going to say you're not qualified for this certification. You have not been approved for this certification. So do not test early without approval. Again, you're welcome to. If you want to spend your money just to experience an exam, I guess that's an option, but you won't be able to certify. And so we don't want you to find out after the fact that you've already paid for the exam, you've gone out there, you've taken the exam, you've passed, that you can't certify. Without early exam approvals, tests cannot be taken until the 365th day. So if you test for your D1 on July 5th, 2024, you cannot take a valid test for the D2 until July 5th, 2025. July 4th won't do it. You'll pass your exam on July 4th, and it's the most frustrating thing to see when you go into the portal and say, I can't upgrade. It hasn't been a full year. Again, these things are black and white. There's not a lot of wiggle room, and that way our human emotions and opinions can't really get involved. It is yes or no, you are qualified or you are not. So again, if you're in doubt, check with ADEQ before testing. Even if you're not going for early exam, if you're just like, oh, how long have I had this certification? I don't remember the day I got it, the last day I tested. Can I upgrade yet? Reach out to us and we'll verify for you. Better safe than sorry when it comes to testing. That's what I got. That is the early exam process. If there are any questions in chat, Ebony, I see you've gotten to a few of those, but if anyone else has any questions about the early exam application process, feel free to let me know. I see a raised hand. I see Veteran has a raised hand. I'm not sure if your mic will turn on. I've actually wasn't even aware GoToWebinar had that feature for a raised hand. That's good to see. They've been updating. But if you go to the questions box, whether it's the panel that you have or if you're in the web-based version, the little tab for questions, do feel free to drop your question in there, and we will get to it.
I mean, we do have a few seconds. Let's see, maybe some don't have access to that question box, so you can read some of these out loud.
Sure.
Okay. see
if mics are able to turn on, we can do it that way as well.
if they've changed this format. Hmm.
I know GoToWebinar got nice and shiny since our last webinar here, so we're all learning together.
All right, Gretchen, I've enabled your mic, so let's see if you can speak.
I do see Betron's got a typed comment here as well, but if you want to test your microphone, that'd be a fun experiment for us. Okay, I do see the question is if you test before approval, could you see or could you use the results if approved later? Um, Generally, no. We don't allow for retroactive early exam approvals.
Hmm.
Um, as just a general rule of thumb. So if you tested and you were unaware, like, oops, I accidentally tested 3 months early, but I passed,
Yeah,
uh, you're going to have to retest rather than applying for early exam and doing it retroactively.
unfortunately. Yeah. As Bram mentioned earlier, please check with us first before you test and find out later. Don't waste your money. Check with us first.
Right. That's the long and short of it. If there are more questions that pop up, we will be happy to get to those. But for now, Ebony, I'll let you take control back and we'll get to PDHs and certification periods.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and hop right into it. It might be a doozy. Now that I've finally, here we go. Go ahead. Let's go straight to that tab. Slideshow, share. There's no audio. Okay. Can you see my slides okay, Brown?
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. Anything pops up, if you can't hear me or my slides aren't moving, just let me know. All right. Close that. Focus on these slides. All right. We've got some time here, so please feel free to drop questions in between this presentation. Bram, feel free to stop me if there's really like a question, if we need to go back a slide or two. Um, this is really going to touch on quite a few operators who have multiple certifications, or if you're thinking about adding an extra certification to your existing certs right now. All right, let's move forward. All right, so just the flow of today. Let's do a general certification management. We're going to go through the difference between renewals and upgrades, touch on PDHs one more time. We're going to go through an understanding of certification periods, and then go through examples on how to align your PDHs perfectly while you're renewing, and then just wrap up the whole gist of this presentation. All right. So in general, who is a certified operator? And I mentioned this in the start, and you're going to notice this repetition, as you call it in the field, this redundancy we like to speak of. A certified operator is an individual who holds a certificate issued by ADEQ, the department. All water or wastewater facilities are required to have an operator who's a direct responsible charge or a remote operator um, who has a certification at or above the grade of the facility. They have to adhere to the Title 18, Chapter 5, Article 1 rule, and uh, they are in charge of all decisions that impact the public health um, of the customers that the water is serving. This is why managing their certifications matters. They are impacting not just the public that they are assisting, but the environment. Uh, but managing these certifications comes with a lot of responsibilities. You're managing these upgrades. almost annually. Some of you are trying to become 4x4s, or you're just trying to reach A4. You're applying for early exams. Why am I getting calendar up? Sorry. Some of you are applying for different applications. You're keeping up with different state and regulations and updates. Uh, you're updating your contact information, of course, submitting and earning PDHs. Uh, your renewals are coming up. You're managing those on your own. Some of you don't have admins to do that yourself. Your renewals are on your own, or you're keeping up with your admins to make sure those renewals are getting done. Your payments for your applications as well. But also, you're making sure those certification periods are manageable. And for some of you that come to us, it can be an issue, especially once it's renewal time and you're sitting here wondering why one certification is not accepting PDHs while the rest of them are. And this is a matter that actually comes up quite a bit, especially around the time of June. When fees came into play in 2016, quite a few of you took advantage of the renewal period where you were able to renew earlier than normal to avoid the fees coming into effect of, I believe, July 1st of 2016. So you were able to renew by June of 2016. So this time of the year, a lot of people are renewing, so they're um, coming up at the time where they're like, okay, did this, this, and this, and now all of a sudden my PDHs don't line up. So this topic of certification periods and aligning PDHs does come up, so we have to talk about this now. So let's get into the difference between renewals and upgrades. Whether you have multiple certification periods or not, this will matter as you progress throughout your certification career. So with upgrades, um, testing early or testing yearly or getting early exam approval. This is upgrades. They do not require PDHs, as I mentioned earlier. And then they do have a different certification fee. Currently, it's $90. Upgrades are pretty much you're going from grade 1, 2, 3 to a 4. Pretty standard. Renewals, they can happen from 6 months to 3 years. This is your certification period. As I mentioned in the past, you used to be able to have a certification period from 2 days to 3 years, as in if you wanted to, you could have it expire tomorrow to 3 years. We stopped that because you cannot earn 30 PDHs in a day. Now we're saying you can earn 30 PDHs in 6 months. I will explain that in a bit. Renewals do require you to add 30 PDHs. Renewal fees are starting at $210 with an additional 70 per additional. As I mentioned earlier, those fees will be increasing on August 1st annually. And then you do have a 90-day grace period after every expiration date. That means if your PDHs expire June 30th, you technically have 90 days after that to renew your PDHs, your certifications. That 90-day grace period is not to earn your PDHs. Your expiration date is the last day to earn your PDHs. The 90-day grace period is just to submit payment to ADEQ. So that's why if you are submitting PDHs within that time frame, the system's like, no, we're not accepting that. That's just for payment, and that is also enroll. So for a visual for renewals, it's just the same certification with PDHs. So if you notice with the step here, no PDH is required, PDH is required for renewals. Bit about professional development hours. I did go over the definition earlier, so I'll keep going a bit further into it. CEUs are not recognized by rule, but we do recognize them since they are recognized nationally. One CEU is 10 PDHs. So 3 CEUs is pretty much a college credit for Arizona. So 3 semester units is 30 PDHs. So if you take a 15 unit course, you've got 150 PDHs in 1 semester. You can upload your transcripts and you've got your PDHs already. Um, if a seminar gives you 15 CEUs and you just attended 2 days, you did not earn 150 PDHs in 2 days. Do not upload that to your portal claiming 150 PDHs. We will not accept that. And we will reach out to the provider and let them know that Arizona will not accept that as PDHs. And we will also contact you and tell you to revise your portal, or we will do it for you. And in some cases, we have refunded renewal fees and reverted an operator's um, certifications after renewal because they have used that because their training provider gave them 150 PDHs because their cert said 15 CEUs in 2 days. Um, and then PDHs can be aligned to certifications active with at the time of completion. So even if you have like a W1 prep class and you don't have a W1 at the time, you can only apply it to the certifications active at the time. All right. So on to certification periods. And this is pretty much the bulk of the presentation. By definition, I've been saying certification period. Certification period is the effective date per certification. So that is the effective to expiration date per certification. And this is policy within rule. The expiration date is always at the end of the month. So no matter what time of the month you certify, which is the date you pass your exam. So if I pass my exam, say technically today, no matter what day like I said, I pass my exam, that certification will expire at the end of the month. So technically June 30th of, let's say, 2028. You may have multiple certification periods depending on the activities, like an upgrade, a common alignment, or a renewal. The certification periods may differ between classifications if I have multiple, like a distribution or a collections. Passing like a water treatment one or a wastewater treatment exam on the same day can give me the same expiration date just because I passed them in the same month. Uh, that's just how certification periods work. Like I said, it doesn't depend. It doesn't matter the classification type. It's just the time frame on which you pass these exams. And we'll get into some visuals on that. All right. So visually, we have different effective dates here. Let me pull out the laser. So here is actually the screenshot of what we see visually on the manager side when we're looking at your certifications. We got the collections, distribution, wastewater treatment, and water treatment. And like I said, it doesn't matter the grade or the class. We're looking at these effective dates and these expiration dates. 2025, 2024, different months, different times, even though they're all the same effective dates. Technically here, we have 4 certification periods. This operator here is going to have 4 different slots of where they're going to have PDHs needed for successful renewals, regardless of when they have, how do I say this, have to renew. Now, stay with me here. This operator here has 1 certification period. This is going to determine how many PDHs they're going to have when they renew. Effectively, just 30. This operator here is effectively probably going to have more than 30, depending on how they renew. 1, even though this operator here has 3 certifications, we're still looking at 4 certification periods. Now I do see, oh my gosh, I do see question. Oh, that's why I'm looking at Brian Hicks' question. That's why. Oh, I attended a conference, provided CEUs and no PDHs. Brian, did you see that question?
Yeah, it's up to you if you'd like me to answer it here. If you want to try to give it a go,
Yeah, we should probably answer that question first. I don't want
for
to
sure.
jump too far ahead, if we may.
Yeah, I'll type up an answer here, and you can keep going.
Okay, because I don't want to go too far.
For sure.
Um, uh, I want to make sure. While you're typing up that question, can I say it out loud real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because Brian's, because he said he attended this conference, CEUs provided a conference that provided CEUs but no PDHs. For 2 days, they provided 12 CEUs, um, but awarded one CEU each day, which submitted 12 PDHs. The conversion here, I would reach out to us, Brian, because this sounds like one of the um, uh, conferences that we have reached out about this. That we have talked to about this. Definitely reach out if there are questions. Because even AZ Water will provide zero point 0.8 CEUs in a day because they realize 8 hours in a day. They understand that calculation. Okay, back to certification periods. All right, all right. So when you're just looking at your own certification period, you want to be able to line up your own PDHs based off of the time frames that you have per certification period. And that is based off of your effective to expiration date. Here, this operator has 4 certification periods. This operator is going to have to consider the effective to expiration date. You're welcome. This operator is going to have to consider the effective to expiration date, um, to understand how many PDHs they're going to have to earn for a successful renewal. This operator has 4 certification periods. They're going to need more than 30 PDHs in between the dates of March 2025, February 2025, November 2024, March 2025 to November 2027. While this one down here is only going to need 30 because all they need to focus between is March of 2024 to April of 2027. It takes work to effectively line up your certification periods, and it does take some planning and a little bit of focus, but it's not impossible. Um, like I said, this operator here at the bottom, they've got a collection 4, distribution 2, and a water treatment 1. Um, it does sound like this is primarily a wastewater operator, um, and it does look like this operator here is primarily a water operator. It does sound like they are probably trying to get all of their operators 4x4, and upgrading annually. That could be the plan. I don't know, but it does depend on your career path. So, knowing a little bit, seeing the effective and how many certifications. Huh? Oh, no. Okay. Sorry about that. The slide disappeared.
I think you lost connection for just a second there, but you're back now.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, based off of the effective and expiration dates, how many certification periods do you guys see? Okay. You can take a guess in the chat box. I'll give you 5 seconds here. We're looking at the dates on the effective, ignoring the types of certs, class, and grade. We're looking at just the dates. All right. Looking at just the effective dates and the expiration dates. How many effective periods does this operator put? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this operator here only has one certification period. So remember, your certification period is your effective date to expiration date. So if you only have one date, which is the effective date, and one expiration date, it's the same. This is February 15th all the way down, March 30th, 2027, all the way down, one certification period. This operator has one certification period. So I did see one answer for 2. So Ronan, keep that answer in mind when you're looking at this next one. How many certification periods does this operator potentially hit? We're not paying attention to certification type, class, or grade. We're looking at just effective dates and expiration. Perfect. All right. All right. Yeah, effective date and expiration. So these are a little bit tricky because yes, the expiration dates are all the same. And we will get into common alignment in a second. But the effective date also does play a role in this. So this operator technically has 2 certification periods. We will cover common alignment in a second, but you guys can't discount the effective dates. So the effective dates do matter here. So the effective date to expiration date counts as your certification period. That effective date's different. Even if all certs share the same expiration date, they still are 2 different certification periods. So this operator here is most likely going to have to get more than 30 PDHs here um, between to successfully renew all 3 of these certifications by, well, it's already past this date, to renew all 3 of these certifications by this time. I don't know who this operator is. I didn't get the operator ID when I pulled the screenshot. But these is 2 certification periods. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not a new rule. This has pretty much been in effect since December 31st of 2008. When we get operators who have different certification periods, like the one I mentioned earlier, who have 4 certification periods, and they're like, well, why can't I just use my 47 PDHs for my 4 different certification periods? Pretty much in rule, you do, yes, you do need 30 PDHs, but the rule does state you need certification 30 PDHs for your certification period, which is a time frame, not per certification, which is an item. If an operator holds multiple certificates, the operator may apply required PDHs to all certificates if the PDHs are required within applicable certification periods. So that does mean you may need more than 30 PDHs, unfortunately. So it's not a punishment that if you choose to upgrade or choose alignment, that common certification periods, change a bit. It's not a punishment that you need more than 30 PDHs. And I do see your question what the benefit of common alignment is. I do see your question. We will get to that. It's not a punishment. We will get to it. So what was my point? Yeah. So yeah, if you do hold multiple certifications, you will need more than 30. That's why the rule states at least 30 PDHs accumulated during a certification period. The rule also says you need at least 10 PDHs directly related to your specific job function, water or wastewater. But most of you guys knock that out of the park, so we're not really stringent on that. Water or wastewater, you guys are already pretty much good with that. Most of the time it's just getting the 30 PDHs in a certain specific certification period. So making sure you guys understand that role just means understanding what a certification period is versus just making sure you have 47 PDHs, not per certification, but per certification period. And I'm not calling anyone out specifically. So if you've talked to me recently about 47 PDHs, I'm not talking about you specifically. So factors that impact your certification period, that give you these different periods of effective to expiration date. Even though you've chose common alignment, you have the same expiration date, but your effective dates are different. These are the factors that just impact it. How often you upgrade annually, or if you've got an early exam approval, or maybe you've gotten reciprocity. Maybe you've had all your water certifications here, but you had your wastewater certifications transferred from, say, Illinois or Hawaii. Those can impact your certification periods. Now you've got two water certifications that have 3 years, but two wastewater certifications that are just 1 year, or 3 years elsewhere, outwards. I guess, yeah, 3 years out, and now you've got another two that are just going to expire in a year. Changes in career focus. You're now focused on water, but you're going to let your wastewater ones lapse, or vice versa. Common alignment. I do hear you, Kevin. Common alignment is often a very large cause of changes in certification periods. Um, Oftentimes, some operators do think that common alignment will change all your certification dates, but we will get into that. It only changes your expiration date of the new certification. The existing certification dates do not change. So, into this. So, what is common alignment? And some of you who only have one certification probably don't have this option. So, there was a bug where common alignment was being offered to upgrade it, and that should not be the option. If you're ever offered by the system to upgrade, to align and upgrade, do not take it. And if your grade one, your grade two of the same cert is aligned to a grade one, please call us. So, uh, common alignment was offered pretty much to give certs the same expiration date. This does give you the option for some cheaper renewals down the line, but it's an option to pretty much align your certifications down the road to give them the same expiration dates and effective dates down the road so that you can get to a similar certification period, so that you can eventually just have one certification period to adhere to that rule where you just need 30 PDHs. I mean, so let's just go ahead and then review that part where with the pros and cons, technically speaking, it makes renewals cheaper for our operators. With the fees that went into replace in 2016, when they were adding the fees, the alignment option came into play. Um, they weren't thinking that, okay, as they're going to choose the option to align, of course, they're going to be able to choose the option to add more certifications, which also played into the second option of with the base fee of renewal comes with the option to add the additional renewal fee per additional certification. It also made PDH management um, easier, like I said, with the renewal, um, excuse me, with the PDH management and the renewal application fee. This mic is. Bram, are you there?
Sorry, yes.
This mic just made a really weird noise.
Interesting.
Okay.
I can hear you just fine, so.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Thank you. Did you hear me when I? Oh, okay. Anyway, thanks. All right. So with the fee addition in 2016, as you know, they added the fee for the first fee renewal, and then with each additional certification you added, you were able to align each new certification. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, that meant with each new certification that you added for the alignment, your certification period was shorter. And that did mean that you had less time to add PDHs, which did hinder the time that you did have to acquire the PDHs for each renewal. Um, but there was no limit to the alignment at the time. If you can believe it or not, you were allowed to align a new certification um, to an existing certification pretty much the next day or even like a week later. So it was pretty much if you got a new cert, you can align it to an existing cert pretty much the next day. Um, and you were expected to get 30 PDHs within the next day, or you would lose a cert. And that was pretty much ended after the portal was put in place. Um, and then that's why we started the new process where now you can align up to 6 months. Um, no more, excuse me, no less than 6 months, so that now you can have an expiration date, excuse me, a certification period, no less than 6 months, up to 3 years. That does include the 90-day grace period. The option to align is never required. You do not have to. It is a choice that you do need to make with any certification management choice that you have, considering your own uh, preferences for your career growth. If you are going to stay a collection grade one, and you know you are, that is absolutely your choice. Please do. If you know you're going to upgrade, give yourself time. Don't align, and that should be in the considerations. Um, if you plan on upgrading, I like I said, don't align. If you're not sure you're going to be able to obtain your 30 PDHs, don't align. If you're another consideration going to, if you're already a grade four, I wouldn't align because there's really no upgrading at that point. You're just going to have to retest. And then after the portal enhancements, we're no longer reversing the common alignment options. We've enhanced and enhanced to try to make it very clear that your options for alignment are very much set. Like, this is your expiration date. Um, are you sure? Uh, there are bubbles everywhere, full of information. Call us if you have questions. So let's get into some questions. Clarification. Just for clarification, is my certification dates are. Can you clarify your question one more time, Johnny?
Ebony, I do have Johnny's portal account pulled up here with
Okay.
his 4 different certification periods. I don't need to share the screen or anything for Johnny's sake, but the date ranges I could share that might be a useful example for operators here.
Sure thing.
Okay, so it looks like Johnny has 4 certifications. All of them are aligned to expire on December 31st, 2026. So they all have the same expiration date, but it looks like there are 4 different effective dates. So the earliest of those, the earliest certification began, looks like April 16th, 2024. And with the path Johnny has been upgrading, the shortest certification looks like it started June 12th of 2025. So just a few days ago. Congrats on the C4. But that does mean with the common alignment here that if you want to use the exact same 30 PDHs for all 4 of these certifications, they will have to have been obtained between June 12th, 2025 and December 31st, 2026. That is the shortest certification period that you have.
Mhm.
So there are PDHs, if they were obtained before that, that can apply to some of the other certifications, but not the newest one. So with that being your smallest certification window, if you want to use the same 30 PDHs for all 4, they'll have to have been obtained between those dates.
Thank you, Bram. That's an excellent point. And to your question, Johnny, no, that doesn't mean you need 120 PDHs. So Bram brought up an excellent point. For operators who are often in the situation where they have 4 certification periods, what we tell operators to pretty much get to this point where they only need to deal with 1 certification period is to pick their shortest certification period. So an operator like this, we would look at, let's say, it looks like, what is this, March 25th? Oh, yeah, here. March 25th would be their shortest certification period. If they focus on this window here and earn 30 PDHs, they would cover all of the requirements for this window of their PDHs. And I'm going to get into these examples in a second. If they get 30 PDHs for this wastewater treatment grade 1, they would cover the 30 PDH requirements for all 4 of these certifications, and they would not need 120 PDHs. Um, but we will get into some examples right now, I promise. So let's go back through. So I said we could definitely stop and go as we need. Please ask questions. And how do we get all four aligned? The same effective date. So Holly, how you would get all four aligned with the same effective date is pretty much you would renew, like this operator here. You would renew after your expiration date, and it would pretty much be no upgrading during that certification period or a strategic testing in the same month. Um, it really is a up to you how you manage that. Um, Typically, what we see is when everyone has the same certification period, they are pretty much set where they are in one spot of their career. They're pretty much one water or they're just one wastewater, or they're 4x4s. But it's not saying or anything against career growth operators. Do it. But there is just a bit of strategic planning on the operators end there. Can you renew your certification? Can you renew your certification before the expiration date if you have obtained the required number of PDHs? Let me see that. Let's see. Here we go. 1 second. I might answer that question with the next part of this presentation. Nope. 1 second. Okay. 1 second. Can you renew? Do you mind answering Brian's question, Brian? That's
Absolutely, I can do that.
absolutely okay. 1 second. I might answer that too. Okay. 1 second. So let me go ahead and finish this section. All right. So we just went ahead. Oop, not even on the presentation. Here we go. So we just went over renewals and upgrades. These are some very important factors and common alignment that will change your certification periods. Um, PDHs, just very briefly, and then certification periods, your effective to expiration date. This is the time frame for your certifications, um, and how the rule defines that, how they have to apply. Um, so now we need to look at putting those PDHs in the right spots when you're renewing them. Remember, you don't need them to upgrade, but that upgrade is going to impact your certification period. Okay, so now it's time to upgrade. You have multiple certifications. Renew. You have multiple certifications. You've got your PDHs ready. Um, Now let's look at how we do this. We got a to do, we're doing, we can get it done. Now we've taken, this is pretty much the format. I'm looking at your format here, and we've pretty much put it out into a nice little chart here, and we're going to have some PDHs pop up, and you're going to see visually how it lays out in the system and how it accepts it during the renewal period. So we're just look at one certification period just for easy format. And when you see green, you see how it lays across um, all the certification periods and how it's accepted. So just for example, you're seeing AZ Water Conference. It's accepted across all certification periods because it was earned while all certifications were active at the time. Went to dry, wet barrel testing, hydrant testing, backflow testing, training complete. All those PDHs were earned, accepted. Record keeping training, accepted. This operator got all these 30 PDHs. Successful renewal for these. Okay, so one certification period. This is how an operator in this situation can potentially just get 30 PDHs in one renewal. In an ideal world, um, easily fits in 30 pHs. And this isn't everyone's case, um, but this is how it could work. Okay, so we've got another operator here with 2 certification periods. Not 2 certifications, but 2 certification periods. They've got T1 and W1, 2 treatment certifications, 2 different certification effective dates, same expiration date. This is when they aligned, but they tested at 2 different dates, 2 months apart there. This operator did looks like a biosolids waste management training. Looks like they may have been preparing for that wastewater treatment 1 exam. Um, those PDHs will only apply to that T1 at the time. That W1 was not active when they took this training. So those PDHs will only apply to that T1. Operational math review completed October of 2025. W1 was not active at the time. System will not accept this PDHs for that W1's renewal. All right. Took a source water protection ADEQ webinar. That W1 was active at the time of that webinar. So those PDHs will be accepted by our system because that T1 and that W1 was active during the time of that training. So that is good. They went to our CAP Dev workshop during the time. Like I said, both certs, W1, T1, were active. That system will accept those PDHs. So that's what we want to see. Like I said, you want to earn PDHs while all your certifications are active at the same time. That is the best time to, I see some questions. Sorry. That's the best time to earn PDHs for renewals, especially if you are looking or not really expecting to upgrade during a certain period. See, I think just want to make sure there were no questions on this end here. Perfect.
All right, yeah, it looks good. I'm getting to these more specific ones here in the chat.
All right, perfect. And if we can't get to your questions, we will always be able to follow up with you by email as well, because we will be able to download the analytics and get to the more specific questions. So the gist of this is, even if you have, like I said, 2 certification periods, PDHs will not always match up to both certification periods, meaning this operator will still need to earn more than 30 PDHs at the time. And the answer will still be just focus on the shorter certification period to complete the required 30 PDHs needed to renew. And now we're going to get into something a bit more complicated. Same setup. This operator just has 3 certification periods. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, one of these certifications, they chose not to even align. Wow, that should not be 2024. No, that's okay. Da, 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 da. Yep. Gonna be 7. Yeah. All right, cool. That is a 7. All right, perfect. Let's at least look right. All right. So we've got a T1, a D2, and a C2. All right, same concept. Different effective dates, 2 different expiration dates, and 2 different expiration dates here. All right, cybersecurity 101. Only the T1 was active at the time. Meter and gauge, once again, only while the T1 was active. Nutrients removal. This is applying to only 2. Only 3, actually. Here we go. Wow, this one is actually applying to all 3. Once again, The visuals are not visualizing. Yes. So all right. So now that you still have nutrient removal still applying to all three, you have pumps and motors still applying to all three. Now you do have two here, PDHs that are applying to all three. Unfortunately, now this operator is like, I think I'm just going to become a wastewater operator. That's good. Now they only have the lift station basics for PDHs. This also happens where they'll let, you know, some PDHs lapse, some certification lapse. Now they only have, you know, some PDHs left over, and now they're like, okay, um, some don't matter anymore, but some still do. Like I said, I think that was Holly who asked a few questions earlier. How do you get your certifications to line up? It really is a planning out game. And I didn't share the screenshot of this particular operator because I did pull this from the portal. Um, but it is a planning of a game. And then it's also a planning out of your own career choices. And I thought this operator was interesting. They tried the water industry and decided they just wanted to go full wastewater because that's where their passion was. Um, and it was tried water, I want to go wastewater. Um, Planning that out is your choice. We won't tell you where you want to go or how to go, but we will help you plan that out. Um, and if you truly do want to go that route, and you want to let go of a certain cert, definitely call us, email us, and we can help you plan that. But we won't tell you or make that decision for you. We will help you plan it though. Going to 4 certification periods, and this is probably where a lot of people end up while they're deciding what kind of career path they want to go. Checking that slide too, making sure, okay, that one looks way better. Lockout, tag out. Once again, it's only going to apply to one cert. That's C2 for T4 and D4 are not active yet. Incident command training, that one was barely done before that C2 was in. The D4 prep, this is where a lot of people end up calling us to. That exam prep for training done right before an actual certification is earned. Like I said, that certification needs to be active regardless of what the training is for. The certification needs to be active for the training to apply. If you are doing, say, American Water College, um, Sacramento training, it doesn't matter what you were doing. You were preparing for an exam. The PDHs that you were earning from it only apply to the certifications that are active at the time. And yes, I do understand that because I did do also some prep training for my own certifications, passed the exam myself. Those PDHs I earned did not even apply to my own PDHs for the cert that I tested for. Um, so yeah, the PDHs I earned for my did apply to my T1, but did not apply to my D1. So yes, I understand that sentiment, uh, but those are the rules. Now, Rural Water Conference, apply to all the certifications, they're active at the time. Now, all of the other certifications, T4, C2, W1, lapsed. Asset management comes into training, applies to the only certification active at the time, the D4. That's pretty much how the PDHs lay out based off your certification period. And this is how the system breaks down your PDHs when you are applying them during renewal. They don't go based off your class, your grade. They go based off of your certification period, that effective date to your expiration date, and what is active at the time based off of when you earned your PDHs. I'm going back to the questions. All right. All right. So let's look at the gist here. The gist, just based off a rule that is very much two sentences. Ooh, you need a minimum, and it's literally a minimum of 30 PDHs per certification period, not per certification. Um, the PDHs are based off of a time frame, not per class or grade. When in doubt, call or email the ADEQ opcert program. There are 6,000 of you guys. We can't always answer the phone. We do try. Email us or um, leave a voicemail. We do try to get back with you guys within a few days. Do not call 5 days before your expiration date. Um, try not to do that. Uh, we are not responsible if your certifications lapse. That's not a cop out, and I promise it's not a push off of responsibility, but that is actually just ADQ management saying that we will not reinstate your certifications if they lapse because ADEQ officer did not call you back. Please call us as soon as you know there's going to be an issue. We do offer PDHs in multiple forms. PDHs should not be an issue while you lose your certification. Not understanding the rules should not be an issue while you lose your certification. We want to make this as understandable and as simple as possible. Hence why we try to host these these webinars as often as possible, why we send out these bi-weekly emails for trainings, why we try to promote World Water RCAC as much as possible, uh, why our units try to put on as many trainings as possible for free. They're open to you at all times. And we do have the YouTube webinars, YouTube playlists as well. So please call us, email us, whatever you need to do. Here's our email, here's our phone number, leave a voicemail. We will contact you. And you guys are already dropping really, really, really good questions. So we'll get those answered. Whatever we can't answer, we're here for you guys. Okay. So even Wes, I should say, whatever we can answer, we can get you the right answers. So any questions, please drop them. Bram, you were on it.
Yeah, really good questions, honestly. Those are the kind of questions I love to answer over phone and email too. It's sometimes like a little puzzle to look at your certification periods and figure out a best course forward. I do want to add one more note before we take a little break here, and feel free to keep dropping questions, of course. Every time you renew and every time you upgrade, if applicable, the portal will prompt you and say, "Hey, do you want to align your certifications?" And I get the impression that a lot of operators are just clicking through, just getting it over with, and I get that. But now that you've heard this presentation, every time you get prompted that option, look at it and read it. Consider those dates. Look at when do your certs currently expire? Should you renew or should you align? Because it's not a requirement to. And like Ebony said, if you're planning to upgrade before the next renewal, maybe you don't want to align at all. There are instances. I answered one question or two here, like from John Johnson, I believe, where it would be better not to align if you're about to upgrade, and then you can align again later. So it's kind of a puzzle. Alignment is useful. It can help you save money on those renewals. It can help you minimize the amount of PDHs you need to get, but it is kind of a complex thing. So make sure you're paying attention to it. Any other thoughts, Ebony?
No, I think that's it. And I think we can go on a break and have a few extra minutes.
Perfect. We'll take a break. This is going to say 10, but we'll go for 15. We'll come back right at 10:10 this morning. Get yourself some coffee. I know this is maybe some dry content, but it's really important stuff. So I'm glad you all are here. I hope you have been learning plenty, and I hope you can share with those operators who aren't here today. But we'll be back at 10:10. We'll keep going.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to get things going again here. Let me switch over to my next presentation. Excellent. I hope you all had a chance to grab a snack, grab some coffee, as I was just mentioning. Maybe a little dry to talk about these logistical things regarding your certification, a little less exciting than hands-on work, but it is really important. This whole workshop is based upon the questions that we get literally every single day. Ebony and I are on that email on the monitoring the phone line. There are certain questions, certain issues that operators hit that we see again literally on a daily basis, and so the big goal here is to answer some of those questions. Now there are 70-ish of you operators in attendance today, and there are thousands of operators in the state of Arizona. So if you learn anything today, please do share it with your fellow operators, your coworkers. Yes, you get PDHs today, and I hope you do use those for your renewal. Remember to download that agenda in the handouts section or the materials section. But share this information around. And this webinar, again, is being recorded. It'll be on our YouTube channel later. We hope to have it up on our website, as well as the slides will be available. So you can revisit these things. You can share these things with coworkers and other operators and hope to alleviate some of these questions, some of these roadblocks that operators are frequently hitting. So from here, we're going to get into WPI exams themselves. And I understand most of you in the audience today probably already have taken a WPI exam or two or four or 16 or however many. But we're going to get into why we use these exams. Now, we know Arizona didn't always use the WPI ABC exams. Previously, we, years ago, almost a decade ago now, used in-house exams written and proctored by the state of Arizona by ADEQ, and several of you probably have those kind of legacy certifications that were obtained via those exams. The WPI exams are more of a nationwide standard, though, and so we're going to get into what these exams look like. For those of you who are working your way up, maybe some resources on how you can study, prepare for these exams going forward. The exam pass rate on the whole, operators, I'm sorry to say it's not impressive. These exams are very difficult. The collective passing rate is in the 50% range for all exams, which means we gotta be ready. There's limited exam seats, so it's worth making sure you're ready for the exam before you take it. And so let's get into it. A lot of passing the exams comes down to trainings, events like this one, but more on the technical side of things, and making sure you are prepared for the exams. So what we'll get into in this presentation is a little bit about the exams themselves, why we use WPI exams, what they are. We'll get into some study resources, some opportunities for furthering your knowledge and preparing for these exams. We'll get into registration for the exams themselves, what you can expect when registering, and then a little bit of what to expect on exam day. Again, many of you have taken these exams. Hopefully this will still be useful for you going forward, though. So a little bit about WPI certification exams. These are created by Water Professionals International. Now, you might be familiar with them as ABC exams, the Associated Boards of Certification. That is still true as well. These entities are kind of one and the same, WPI/ABC certification exams. The most current terminology is to call them the WPI exams. Now, these, as I mentioned, are really a nationwide standard, an industry standard for operator certification exams. Now, some other states still use different programs. Some states use their own in-house testing, like ADEQ used to have, but the majority of states use WPI exams. And many states that use their own exams still model their exams off of the WPI exams. And so this makes it really useful, especially for those of you, whether incoming or outgoing, are ever seeking reciprocity. If you want to transfer your certifications to another state, the fact that you've passed a WPI exam with that coveted 70% or higher score means that you'll probably be able to serve the same functions as an operator just about anywhere in the country. And we will accept reciprocity quite easily from other states. We accept reciprocity from all states and many territories as well. But we will always accept a WPI exam very easily. So if you've taken one in another state, you still have an active certification for it, you come over to Arizona, great. We're using the same exam. It makes it really easy. And these exams are really well catered to prove experience, knowledge of actual work experience. So yeah, there's a lot of technical knowledge um, that is obtained, like things you have to memorize, calculations you have to do for the exam, but they're designed in such a way where the more you are working in the field, the easier the exams become. It's not to say you don't have to study, but they're well designed exams. And I see your question here, Ronan, as far as reciprocity. Yeah, most other states, to my knowledge, every other state will accept a WPI exam in Arizona if you're looking to ever transfer with reciprocity to another state. Your certifications, especially because you've obtained them through a WPI certification exam, are pretty easy to transfer to other states. Now, they're not always one-to-one. Certifications vary in the name and the complexity and whatnot in other states, but WPI is a great starting point for reciprocity. It was mentioned earlier, the 2017 version of the WPI certification exams is what we've been using since 2017. The exact same exams for each of the various classes and grades. As of July 1st, 2025, so just a couple days now, on Tuesday, if you have an exam on Tuesday or later, you'll be taking the 2025 version of the exam. Now, if you already have an exam seat booked, I don't want you to panic. If you're thinking, oh no, I've been studying for the wrong exam, that is not the case. What you've been studying is still the correct material to study. In fact, the recommended study material is not changing at all. And much of what you might have been using, if you've gotten study resources through ADEQ, is already catered towards newer versions of the exam than the 2017 as is. So WPI periodically refines their exam. They're constantly analyzing the metrics, rewording, refining the questions so that they're actually more applicable directly to the study material that is being used. And so these are just refined, enhanced versions of the exams. Some new questions, yeah, some different topics, but all coming from the same source material. And the idea is just to keep these exams fresh, to keep them secure and safe. Occasionally updating them prevents any cheating that can creep in throughout the years as well. And so this will still be the same type of exam, same proctors, same locations. We offer the ADEQ through third-party proctors offers in-person computer-based exams. So if you've already registered for an exam after July 1st, really nothing's going to change. It's a new version. It might be a little cleaner, a little easier to navigate through. Of course, as I'm hoping you all know, there are 16 different certification exams, 16 different certifications that can be held, up to 4 at a time. There's the 4 classes. There's water treatment, water distribution, wastewater treatment, and wastewater collections. All of those start at grade 1, work up to grade 4. Exam requirements, something that's really great about operator certification, working in the water wastewater industry in general, is that it's an open door for a lot of people as far as beginning a career. A high school diploma or GED is the only prerequisite for a grade 1 exam. Now, this isn't true in some other states or for many other career options, but here with operator certification, you have that high school diploma, you have that GED, you can go get your grade 1 certs. No other prerequisites. You don't need work experience, you don't need special training, certifications, whatever it is. You can start with the grade 1s. That's not to say you won't have to study, but it's a great industry to get into directly after high school, whatever it is. Enter into a workforce that is demanding more employees. Now, as we've discussed already, testing for an upgrade, you'll need to hold the previous grade for a minimum of 1 year, unless you are otherwise approved for early examination. And as Ebony mentioned as well, when it comes to PDHs, upgrades do not require PDHs. So if your plan is to keep testing, just testing your way up, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, you might go a huge chunk of time where you don't actually need any PDHs. And the idea is that the studying for the exam and the taking the exam itself, you're putting a lot of time into that. So you are still continuing your education, but through upgrading, no PDHs being required, only if you renew after a certification lapses. So studying for your exam, this is another question we get a lot of okay, I'm ready to enter the industry. Where do I start? This is great. I have my high school diploma. I can get into this field. What do I do next? We do have recommended resources for study. ADEQ has a bunch of them on this one document, which is also in the handouts section in the materials tab of GoToWebinar. You can download this. It's available on our website. Please take it, share it around to prospective operators or operators looking to work their way up. We've got the How to Become a Certified Operator Guide. And this has a lot of what we're talking about already this morning, but the bulk of this document is study resources. It has quite a list of paid and free study resource recommendations, everything from online courses, a few in-person courses. There's a bunch of textbooks, there's websites, there's podcasts, there's Quizlet study guides. There's all sorts of study materials that exist, and so there are many options. I don't want you to get overwhelmed because a lot of these are one size fits all. Like if I'm studying for my D2, I don't need to download buy every textbook, take every class that ADEQ offers. There are some specialized for, okay, D1, D2 textbook. You get that textbook. If you're a textbook learner, you're able to open that thing and learn from it. That's probably all you're going to need for those exams. So many of them are quite comprehensive, but there are a lot of options there depending on your preferred style of learning. Uh, for higher level exams, there are a few less resources. There are still textbooks, classes catered to grade 3s and grade 4s. But as I mentioned, WPI exams are really designed to emphasize on-the-job experience. And again, this is why early examination requirements are as stringent as they are with such high expectations. Because for these higher level exams, from what I've heard, granted, I'm not a grade 3 or 4 operator in any of the classifications, but from what I understand, on-the-job training and physical experience is absolutely essential. If you've been out of the field for 3 decades, 2 decades, however long, and you previously held your D1, T2, and you want to upgrade to 3 and 4, and you just go test without studying, you're probably not going to have a great shot at it. On-the-job experience, on-the-job training is really essential the way these exams are designed. And then the best study guide that I can offer. My number one recommendation, at least as a starting point for study, to get an idea of what do I know, what do I not know. WPI offers these need to know criteria guides. Now, if you go to gowpi.org, they have all of these, all 16 of them, one for each class and grade of exam, a free PDF that you can download. And this PDF, I have a screenshot of one right here in the middle of the screen. This is the Water Treatment Operator Class 1. Now we call it Grade 1. It's the same exam. Water Treatment Operator Class/Grade 1. This is the table of contents, the content outline. And there's one of these again for each of the exam grades and classes. And it tells you, okay, as far as questions regarding treatment processes, there will be 30 questions. Questions regarding laboratory analysis, there will be 13 questions. You get an exact number of questions, and as well as the complexity. We see the recall, that green light bulb. Those are the easiest kind of questions that just require you to know a little piece of knowledge. Application questions require a little more hands-on interpretations, and analysis questions are a lot more complex, but we see here in the water treatment grade 1, none of the grade 1 exams have any analysis questions. So you have an exact amount of questions. You know what you're going in with, as well as on the right side there, 8 calculation questions. Oh, math is my weak point. How am I going to get a score of 70 or higher? Well, I don't recommend it, but you can go in knowing technically you can miss all 8 math questions and still pass the exam. There's also that note that your exam may contain up to 10 unscored test questions, so there's technically 110 questions on your exams. That's still the case with the 2025 version. That's how WPI gauges their future metrics for future exams. So there it is. On these documents as well, if you keep scrolling down on these PDFs, it'll break down like treatment process. What kind of topics are covered in treatment process? And there's a bullet list of 20 or 30 topics there, more specifically regarding treatment process, chlorination amounts or whatever it is. So you can read through these documents and say, well, I have no idea what that term is. I'm not very familiar with this. I'm an expert in that. And get an idea of where do you need to spend your time studying before you take your exam. Then when it's time to register, you've studied up, you're ready to take your exam. Exams are all proctored by third parties. So there's 3 contractors currently that will proctor these WPI exams. We're in agreements with the proctor and WPI. It's kind of a 3-way agreement, but you can head to our website, exam registration on the opcert page will have links to those 3 different proctors. Now, you're registering to take the exams and paying to take the exams through the proctors, not through ADEQ. So we have the 3. We have Gateway Community College. They currently have 12 testing locations statewide. They have the kind of most remote options. Central Arizona College is our newest proctor. They have 3 Pinal County testing locations. I believe they're still intending to increase that up to 5 or so testing locations, but that is all in Pinal County. And then the city of Phoenix has a kind of special internal testing agreement for their employees because of the quantity of operators they have, but they do have one testing location that's available to non-Phoenix employees as well. So those are your 3 options. They all have slightly different prices, different availability, different locations, but again, they are these third parties. So if you've registered to take your exam with Gateway Community College, and you say, oh man, I need to cancel that. I need to change my date. I need to actually take a T2 instead of a D2. Um, don't contact ADEQ. You can. I will direct you to Gateway Community College, or if you registered with City of Phoenix, I'll direct you to the City of Phoenix. If you need to make any changes as far as those exam seats go, they are managed independently by those proctors. Now, you probably are well aware, as are we here at ADEQ, that exam seats fill up far in advance. There's not always enough of them, and again, that's an issue we are aware of, but please register early. Register, you know, if you need your certification on X date, make sure you register far enough in advance to get that certification by then. You can always, if you're not quite qualified, if your full year hasn't gone by, so you're not qualified to upgrade for a month, you could still register for that exam seat 2 months from now. So register in advance, but please note, try not to double book. We know the seats are full, and so a lot of people double book out of fear. What if I fail an exam and need to take another? Free up those exam seats as much as possible for other operators. So book your one exam and then, oh, something comes up, I have to cancel, I have to reschedule. Cancel as soon as you know that. You can call or contact these proctors and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make this exam, and they can reopen that exam seat. And so that's another note there. If you really need to take an exam early, it's worth trying. I can't guarantee anything, but if you see, oh, Gateway is testing in my area 2 times this week, let me contact them the week before, the day before, see, hey, were there any last minute cancellations? I've heard of operators being able to snag seats through that route. So test day comes around. You're ready to take your exam. Show up on time, of course. It is a computer-based test, but it's done in person on a schedule at a computer lab or facility. You'll have 3 hours. You'll have a full 3-hour window to take your exam. Make sure you have your photo ID on hand. It will be checked. It'll be verified. They'll make sure that the person who registered to take the exam is indeed the person taking the exam. Expect to take off your smartwatches, power off your phones. Some locations will have you store them in a locker. Others will just collect them in a bin or on a back table. You'll probably have to take your hats off. And expect to use the provided calculators as well. The proctor should have calculators there on hand for you. Any attempts to work around the rules, to cheat, circumnavigate, whatever it is, you might be removed from the exam without a refund at the very least. So we do take cheating quite seriously. These contracts we have to uphold between ourselves, the proctor, WPI, plus we want to make sure that our operators are legit. We don't want anyone trying to breeze through operating drinking water, wastewater systems. And one more note, before you begin your exam, double check. A screen will pop up there when you get seated. It'll say, hey, you're about to take your water treatment grade 1. Well, if you registered to take your water treatment grade 2, sometimes these mistakes can fall through the cracks, very rarely, but don't take the exam that's not the exam you registered to take. Bring it up with the proctor, get it sorted out. Make sure you verify. Just one last check before you get into that exam. Is this the exam I'm supposed to be taking today? Final notes before we get on with the next presentation. If you pass your exam, you are not automatically certified. If it's been a while, you might forget this and say, yes, I got my score of 70 or higher. I got my 85. I'm now certified. Not true. You still need to certify with ADEQ. Passing an exam does not automatically certify you. As mentioned, exam seats vary a little bit based on the proctor, but after passing, you come and certify your score with ADEQ. The fee is $90. Again, updating soon, subject to annual adjustments and all that. But you certify with ADEQ, and then your certification becomes live. The start date for your certification will be the day you took the exam. but it will not become active until you certify with ADEQ. So if you pass the exam today, but don't certify with ADEQ for 7 months, the 3-year window will still start today, on today's date. And again, with early exam approval, if you've previously been approved, early examination, make sure when you go to register, you pass your exam, you go through that link that was emailed to you with the approval. And again, when in doubt, reach out to us. We're happy to look into it. Any questions as far as the WPI exams go? Remember that How to Become a Certified Guide is available for download. Grab that. Grab the agenda from the handouts section from the materials tab. Awesome. Well, we are right on time. I will pass things over to Ebony for our final presentation. She's going to walk you through a renewal upgrade. I do see Johnny question. It's still going to be 110 questions. It'll be 100 scored questions, of which you need a 70 or higher to pass. But WPI keeps those 10 experimental questions in there as well. Those 10 questions are metrics to gauge for future examinations. John Johnson, so 70 correct out of 100 questions is 70%. These experimental 10 questions, we have 110. That is correct. Yeah. So 10 of those questions are unscored, and that is we hear your feedback. That is how WPI designs their exams. That's how they are constantly working on making the next version of the exam. But that is correct. You'll need to get 70 out of the 100 scored questions correct to get a score of 70 or higher. Now the metrics actually change a little bit with the 2025 exams. You'll still need to get a 70% or higher, but not all of the exams will have exactly 100 questions anymore. It's weighted a little differently, but that's something that remains to be seen as we see what these exams actually look like. How the exact amount of questions each exam ends up having might vary a little bit, but the score of 70% is still the threshold. Okay, Ebony, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Well done, Brown. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. So we're just going to go ahead and move into a little bit of a live demo of the portal. Very basics, just so you guys can see a little bit of a navigation. I'm going to be moving through what we call internally a user acceptance testing environment, um, which is pretty much what we use to design the portal. Oh boy, if I can find my tab. Why do I have so many tabs open? I can find my tab. But I don't want to close everything, but looks like I have. I'll just close every tab until I can't anymore. Every tab. Oh, well, I'll find it. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. It's going to get there eventually. So I'm going to go ahead and do a nice little simulation of navigating the portal. We're going to go ahead and do an upgrade, showing you how to properly upgrade um, or add a new certification to the portal, and then a renewal, adding PDHs to the portal. All right. Like I said, a UAT environment. So this isn't a real one. Also, I use my own certification portal, but I'm not up for renewal till 2026. So, um, anyone who's ever tried to renew early has been told no, you can't. So I've also been told no, you can't. So I am of no exception, and I am not above the law. So we are in a testing environment. All right. Anyone who's familiar with this portal system also should know if you are already a certified operator, which means you have a portal, an ID, an operator ID, you are already in our system, and you have a new certification, you just passed an exam, you would go to this section. I know this is a little confusing. It says, I just passed an exam. Um, you still go here. I'm already a certified operator with ADEQ. That means you have an operator ID, you have an email ID on file with us. You would still go here. But if you are brand new, you've never certified with ADEQ, then you would want to go to this section here. For giggles today, we are brand new. We've never certified with ADEQ. We are going to go to that section. I'm going to go copy, pass my test. You're going to be greeted with this information. Bram has mentioned it. It's very time sensitive, this application here. It will time out in 20 minutes of non-activity. So make sure you have all your paperwork available in hand. That includes your payment. If you have a waiver of any kind, most people don't know, but we do offer a fee waiver for low income military spouses and people who were honorably discharged from the military within the last 2 years, as long as you have your DD 214 or some sort of discharge paperwork. You can apply for that application prior to certifying. So that's another sticking point. You have to submit that application and be approved prior to certifying within our system. The other caveat is you cannot be in our system prior to that application as well. You may be eligible, so make sure you fill that out prior to this application. So you would want to continue within our system. Let's be I don't know who's old school, but I like cat dog. We'll be cat dog. Enter your email, confirm that email. We're using a user acceptance email here. We'll put in our ADEQ email address. Make sure your last four is Social Security here. Did I put 4 numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right. It's going to want to use a geo-referenced address. Make sure that's on file. I just passed. Let's just go ahead and say the water treatment grade 1. What date? For reference, let's go ahead and just say we want to do a renewal, right? So let's go back 3 years. We do want to do a renewal. So not 2025. 2022. Let's go back 2025. There you go. Let's do June 2025 too. Yes. So this is also to Bram's point earlier. No matter when you renew, it's going to backdate to your actual exam. Let's claim that I actually got, let's say I got 90. And don't lie about your scores. We do verify these exam scores. We do by all your information. WPI sends us the scores. We verify your system. So please do not lie about your scores. We have revoked operators in the past. If you do lie about your scores, that is an offense by state law. We do have to revoke you. You cannot certify in the state of Arizona. If you do try to apply out of state with a revoked certification, we will let the issuing agency asking us, hey, is this a valid certification in your state? We will let them know, yes. No, it is not valid. We did revoke this operator, and that could be a criminal offense in that state. All right, we're continuing. Cat dog, all of my information here. Let's save this email address. All right, continuing on, I'm agreeing to 109. Like I said, this is the state law here saying that I am not lying. I'm agreeing to everything. This is also more statute here. I'm liable to any criminal actions. I'm certifying that everything that is prepared by me under my supervision. Full name here, cat dog. I missed that show. If you've never seen this page, you're either ready to make a payment on your own behalf or someone else can make the payment for you. In this case, I'm going to make my own payment. But if you are able to have someone else make a payment for you, you could enter their name and their email address, and they'll receive that email address sent to them. In this case, I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to make a payment. In this case, the current payment is 90. Do not be confused by this box that's going to pop up. I know it's in red. It's alarming. Alert, action required. You're just like, whoa, what's going on? You're just going to be redirected to a state utility checkout. It's just letting you know you're no longer on the opcert portal. You're just being directed to a state utility checkout page, meaning you're leaving an ADEQ site. You're now going to an Arizona state site. And you're okay. That's okay. Press on and go ahead. At this point, this is where you're going to be entering all of your billing information. If you're using your own information, your own personal information, yes, please put in exact information as is with your banking account. If you're using an employer's information, that information needs to match the employer's information, from name to address to phone number to email address. Your email address would come in on the next page. Their email address and phone number and address needs to be on this page. If you are not familiar with their information, they need to provide that information. Another part that often gets missed on this page here is the billing address of the company itself. What we get often is the company itself will put in let's say, the satellite's address. Let's just say if I was to put in ADEQ's address here, but the actual address is state of Arizona's address. I hope that makes sense. Like the capital of Arizona's address, not the ADEQ building's address. So please make sure the address on file of the card does match. So I will quickly put in the information of our fake digital card. So bear with me as I pause screen sharing, because it is fake digital card. Continue. Awesome. And authorize. And processing. Awesome. Okay, resume sharing. Now, once the payment has been processed, you're going to get to this confirmation page. This is the part where you guys are going to get an email in your email box with your copy of your certificate and a summary page. The summary page is also going to be here, but then you're going to exit. At this point, as a new operator, you're going to be able to use this box moving forward, or if you're already an existing operator, you can continue with this section. So let's go ahead and go in. We're going to log in with that same email address that no, that wasn't it. Well, what was that email address we used? There we go. There we go. Paste. There we go. Perfect. Send me the code. Now that when I see this box, I know that I am now officially in the ADEQ system as an operator. If you are getting anything else like a a password request, you're not in the system yet. That doesn't mean that you have a password. If you ever are asked or prompted to enter a password, please contact the opcert program. There are no passwords for any operator in Arizona. That is just the way this Okta system works. Okta is this system here and the URL, and that is what manages our database. You want to see this, send me the code. So if you're getting password requests, please contact us. That way we can make sure you're in our system. So send me a code. It will time out. You'll want to check your inbox. And that code will be different every time you log in. And that code doesn't matter. It can be shared. It's going to be different every time you log in. In this case, it's these digits. Verify. This little window will pop up. No, I don't have a facility to add. Yes, we need to add it. It's going to pop up every time. Sorry if it's annoying. Just a simple no. Continue about your day. Oh, look at that. It's expiring soon. And look at that. Let me zoom into this. Yeah. Yep. Look at that. It's expiring soon. So now we have our wastewater treatment grade 1, effective on my test date of June 1st of 2022. And I believe this was mentioned earlier, but it does not matter when I test it. That expiration date is always going to be at the end of the month. Um, Download the certificate here at any time. You do not, as of 2020, we do not mail out physical certificates. Um, they were really nice. I've seen them. They were so pretty. But I guess to be conscious paper wise, they no longer mail them out, but you can download them at any time officially. Uh, you can print them as you need. They are a large copy, and then if you scroll down a little bit more, they can print little card size. Now you can't see that, so I'll share that tab instead. I'm sorry. So you can print them large or you can print them small. These come to you after every upgrade and every renewal by email. And if you don't get a copy, you can email us. We get ever copies in our own inboxes, the opcert inboxes, for every renewal and upgrades. There we go. Share the tab instead. Like I mentioned, download here. Also, a little bit more about this dashboard. Active and inactive tabs here, inactive tabs here. So if you ever add a new certificate and it's not in this active tab here, and it's in this active tab and you just added it, please contact us immediately. There may have been a glitch with the effective dates, or maybe you just earned it quite a bit, or you may have added the wrong effective and expiration date. So like I said, a new cert you just earned and it's in the ineffective tab, contact us immediately, please. All of your facilities will be added here. If you need to add one, you can add it when the pop-up arrives when you first log in, or you can just go to the tab and add one here. There's the option for water and drinking water, and then there's the option to search for the system and then be added as the operator or direct responsible charge. Okay, so that was the process of how to add yourself with an upgrade or a new certificate. All right, now we are sitting here with our wastewater grade 1, and we need to renew. Um, so you do have two options. One, you can go straight to the renewal section. We don't have any facilities, and we do need to certify that we have no systems first before we move on. We can continue. So one, we can come straight to the section of the renewal, and we can say we need to add PDHs. What we just learned about certification periods is, in this case, cancel back. Go back. Pressing mount for page 9, right? No. Go back. Why would you do that? Oh, wow. My UA page timed me out. Nope. Continue. All right. We can either add PDHs here. Nope, we don't want to. Actually, we can. Oh, no, I don't want to. Oh, nope. We don't want to add. Oh, I didn't check the box. Of course, I didn't want to. Okay. So we do want to add PDHs here.
We still
Let's
see
go.
a MyDEQ login screen here, Ebony.
Oh, sorry. Share
You're
this
good.
tab instead. Let's go ahead and add some PDHs. Let's go ahead and add, say, here. Let's do Monday through here. I'm going to add, say we did a Haswapper. Because we did, let's say we did a Haswap. Now, yeah, let's say we did a Haswap. Let's say we did a Haswap here. Oh boy, I did that, yeah. That's where you did that. For grade 1 wastewaters, let's continue. Um, we got our PDHs ready with our payment, and we're not going to have to step out. Okay, we're selecting our wastewater treatment. This gray box here is what we need to keep in mind that we need to select. I know it looks very unassuming, but make sure we're always wanting to make that green. There we go. And if in any doubt you have questions, these little question mark bubbles, there's question bubbles here. We'll always have these little tidbits here. And this is what I was talking about, how it's going to give you these little tips about common alignment. And like you said, you have one certification. Common alignment should not be offered to you. Now these PDHs need to be selected for each of your certifications. Right now we only have one, so we do need to select the HAZWAP 40. This total here is only going to talk about how many PDHs you have available to select. Right now we only have one PDH selectable. This is going to be how many hours you have available for you. And right now we have 40 hours available for us. Unselected, you only have no hours. 40 hours available. Little reminder, you must have 40 hours available between the effective dates and the expiration date, which is your effective certification date. Excuse me, your certification period. All right. 40 hours selected for your wastewater treatment. Continue. Once again, the lingo, the legal. You're not doing anything illegal, and this is you, or you're agreeing that whoever's doing this for you is you're doing it. They're doing it under your supervision. Okay, doc. That I checked it. Yes. Continue. And I'm going to pass this off to Brown because he's agreed that he's going to pay this for me. Right.
Thank you. Can't wait.
Yeah. But, apparently it's Bram.com. So Bram's going to pay that $210 for me. Thanks, Bram. So that would be how you would want to navigate with a payee if you were doing it. Now, I better make sure that Bram knows that email's coming, because if Bram does not know that payment's coming to him, that bill is coming, it is still not Bram's responsibility if my certifications expire or become inactive. If my certifications become inactive because Bram fails to pay for my certifications, ADEQ is not going to go after Bram. ADEQ is not going to make Bram pay for my exam and my new certification fees. It's still the responsibility of me to retest and pay for new certifications. Now that was rather simple, especially since I had one certification. Now let's go ahead and put this down with two certifications. Now I have one wastewater treatment here. I'm going to add a second one. Excuse me while I look at my notes to make sure it's lining up right. Now, this is the option where I'm going to be given to align. I'm going to select yes. Now, it is giving me the option to align, and it's giving me the expiration date. Now, this might give it the question to someone who is saying um, the benefit of aligning, or if I have the option, if I can choose. Yes, you can choose. And it's also telling you when you're what you're aligning to. You are aligning to this wastewater that already exists. This wastewater treatment cert is not going to change at all. It's just telling you you have the option to choose the expiration date to the wastewater treatment. The wastewater treatment's not going to change at all. The effective and expiration date of the wastewater treatment's not going to change. It's only telling you you can align to a common expiration date of the wastewater treatment of 6/30/2025. May reduce the renewal fee moving forward. That is the only thing that's going to change. The renewal fee moving forward and the expiration date of your new cert. That is the only thing that's going to change. If I cancel this, your wastewater treatment, the test date moving forward. New certifications will not align to an existing certification date if the expiration date is within 6 months. Now, let's change this test date. Oh, it did take. Here, let's play with this. 225. Okay. Continue. It did not give me the option to align. Why? Because this is within 6 months of June of 2025. At this point now, it's just going to give you a full 3 years of a certification period. Downloading the summary right now just so you guys can see this. I'm going to share this tab instead. This is a draft copy. No option to align is going to be given to you. Back to the main thing here. Once again, I just want to let you know how the alignment will not be given to you. It is your choice to align. You do not have to take it. The yes, no option will be given to you. Nothing will change with your existing certifications. Go back to the dates. Let's go back to 2023 of March 1st. That. Continue. Now we have the options to align. If I press no, then we're looking at just the water treatment. We will have the option of just a full 3 years, which in this case, since my test date was 2023, the expiration date is 2026. These are the options that you have. A yes to alignment, expiration date will align to the wastewater treatment. 2025 is your expiration date for the new cert. A no, the expiration date is 2026. And if the expiration date is within 6 months, it won't even matter. It is an automatic 3-year certification period. I wanted to make sure that was very clear with those options, but it always depends on your test date. Right now, we're just playing with the options for imaginary test dates. So when you are planning your exam date and you have multiple certifications, please just plan on your options because that will dictate your certification period and that will pretty much dictate how you will be able to earn your PDHs for any renewals you're planning, or if you're just planning on upgrading continuously for the next few years, or how you're going to plan out your careers as you're earning your certifications. For now, I'm going to choose alignment. So I'm going to show you how the PDHs may or may not align um, for this renewal demonstration. So I'm going to have a shorter certification period for this water treatment exam that was just earned in 2023. In fact, I'm going to make it a little harder. We're going to do March of 2024, so it's going to have a shorter. I want to align it. We're going to give it a year. So 2024, I want to align it to 2025. The wastewater treatment will not change at all, just the water treatment. All right. Yes, legally, all me, cat dog. 2. I'm going to make this payment. I can't rely on Bram. He never answered my email. Yes. All right. Yes, all me, I think. At ADEQ. I keep forgetting AZ's first. Pause on the fake billing information. Okay. Yes, you can see the card number, but you can't see the rest. All right. All right, resume. All right. Now, we get to the slightly interesting part. We've got 2 PDHs expiring. And this is probably the situation that most of you guys find yourself in when you have 2 PDHs. We've got one here with 3 years. And like I said, this is the exact way the portal works for you guys. I just added a new certification. As you can see, nothing changed with the wastewater. Even though I added a new one and I accepted the PDHs, the common alignment, nothing changed with the wastewater. This is how the common alignment works. Um, the only thing that changes when you select common alignment for a new cert are the dates for the new cert. The effective date and the expiration date uh, pretty much creates a new certification period. So I need PDHs for this March 1st to 2024 to June 30th of 2025. The PDHs that work for the wastewater treatment 1 won't necessarily work for the water treatment grade 1. And even though I could have technically renewed this wastewater treatment 1, now that I have this new one, they won't apply for this one. So how do we address this? Well, we can do 2 things. One, we can either just focus on 30 PDHs for this one, which we did answer earlier. We could focus on the smaller certification period, which we can get 30 between March 1st of 2024, which will apply to both of these because both certifications were technically active during this time. Or we can upgrade. We are technically eligible to upgrade both of these certifications. That is an option because we are by law, legally eligible to upgrade to a 1. We just need to hold both of these certifications, grade 1s, for a minimum of a year. So technically, we're eligible to upgrade this wastewater 1, 2023 of June, and then this water grade 1, March 2025. So you do have those options. That's your right to do so. So another thing too is these can both expire and you can upgrade. So during your 90-day grace period, you are no longer eligible to add PDHs. So if you don't have the 30 PDHs after June 30th, you can work towards studying for your upgrade. Once the 90-day period hits and these expire, even once this says inactive, you can still upgrade to a grade 2. You cannot renew them, but you can still apply for an early exam as well. In rule, you have just had to have held these. If you're eligible for early exam, you have just had to have held these for a year. They don't need to be active. That was the caveat of the rule as well. So there are ways to still upgrade. We do work with operators. You just have had to have held them for a year. You can still upgrade. There are multiple ways to do it. So, like I said, you have two options. Either upgrade if you don't have the PDHs, or focus on the shortest certification period and get the 30 PDHs, or focus on that time period, certification period, and get those 30 PDHs. In this case, I'm going to look at this time period here and focus on those PDHs. So the second option I mentioned earlier, you can add the PDHs in this section. In this case, I already added 30 PDHs between a certification period, luckily. That will satisfy the requirement for both of the certifications. Another issue that some operators run into is that they will go to this edit view issue button here and say, oh no, the file is gone, because they want to view and edit. Technically speaking, that file is still there. Whenever you add and upload something, it instantly comes to our end. It is still there. It's not gone. You can just save and move on. Every time you add or upload something here, we do get it. How do I say this? It just looks like you uploaded it 20 times on our end. So you don't need to keep uploading it. I promise we do see it. I promise you we do get it. So all you need to do is upload it once. Let's see. So here I will share this tab here. It's nobody's, anyone's business. But yeah, so this is what it looks like on our end. We will see your file, but if you upload it 17 times, we will see this file 17 times. So one file is enough. So if you see this box empty, just trust and believe we already have it. So any edits you need to make, just you can make it to the hours or the description, and that's all we need. All right. That should be it. Any questions on the demo? All right, perfect. And with that, I think that should be everything you guys need for successful renewals. At that point, you're pretty much going through the motion of checking the boxes for each of your certifications and adding those PDHs. You do need to select both. Keep that in mind. You want to see 40 hours on each of your certs, or 30 minimum. You want to get to this page. If you can see that summary page, you know you've successfully gone through each of the motions, continued through. Make sure you're selecting all the boxes. You are ready for payment. Whoever is paying, remember your payee is not liable for if they do not pay. I do still want to show you a successful page. Oh, why would it do all of that? Bram, do you see any other questions in that box there?
Let's see, just one here from Dakota. Pertaining to PDHs, if you have C1 and W1 and work in wastewater, do you need 10 PDHs for wastewater and the other 20 can be either or?
I'm sorry.
Dakota asks pertaining to
Oh,
PDHs.
oh, so you only need 10 that pertain to one or the other. So if you have both, then you're pretty much good. By roll, excuse me.
And Kevin Walters asks, how do we get today's webinar PDHs? That's a great question, Kevin. The handouts section or the materials tab, depending on if you're on GoToWebinar desktop or browser, has a file that's titled Agenda, Managing Operator Certifications, and you can go ahead and download that PDF and upload that to your portal as Ebony has demonstrated here.
Oh, and I see that too, yes. And apologies, Dakota. Yeah, your 10 PDHs just need to apply to your wastewater. So yeah, that would be our demo for the portal. And then also just applying mainly for either just one certification or if you have multiple certification periods. Once again, we want to thank you all for being in attendance. And Damien, Bram, do you have that final slide for contact information and questions?
I do indeed. Yeah, once again, our email, azopcert@azdeq.gov. If you have any questions going forward, the phone number there as well. Again, grab that agenda from the handouts tab. Feel free to reach out to us with any other questions. And we would love to hear your feedback as well. I'll put this same link to this survey in an email. As mentioned, we'll follow up and email you all of the slides in a share file today, but we'll also have a link to this survey, which you can scan if you would prefer on your mobile device right now, that QR code. That is just a workshop survey. You could tell us some feedback. Adam Ford, which documents do we download? It's up to you. The agenda is what you'll need for uploading to your opcert portal account in order to get the PDHs for today. I also recommend everyone takes that How to Become Certified guide. That's a very useful resource for studying and getting certified in general. But all of those are useful files in there.
I see Nancy's question about the 10 PDHs. They do need to apply directly to your specific job function as an operator, and that's pulled from role. We just say that it has to apply to either your water or wastewater certification. If you have both, either is fine. Did that clarify your question, Nancy? Thank you.
Awesome. Well, if you do have any follow-up questions, feel free to email or call us by phone. But once again, thank you all for being in attendance here today. I hope you have learned a good bit. This will be up on YouTube, on the ADEQ YouTube channel here pretty soon. It can be revisited, shared around, and hopefully answer some of those common questions that the program gets. But thank you all again for being here.
Wish we had exit music.
I know, I need some soundtrack right now.
All right. Also, if you can double check your agenda, this webinar is 3.5 hours today. And looks like we got some hands up just to make sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if we can unmute anyone. It's the format.
The hands might have been an attempt to. The emoji button is the same button, so it's a little
Oh, okay.
confusing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, oh, we're just trying to figure out tech. All right, Bram, I'll leave it up to you to close it.
Alrighty. Thank y'all for being here, and have a good rest of your day. I'm not positive if I have the power to end it here, Ebony, but I'm looking for
I got you, Bram.
it.
Bye, everyone. Have a great afternoon.